and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Bell. I'm your podcast host, Ciera Hammond, and on today's episode, we are discussing all things mentoring in honor of National Mentoring Month. We have our mentor coordinator and one of our amazing mentors here with us, and let's dive into it. It's National Mentoring Month, and this is something that I'm so passionate about, and we have two wonderful, amazing people here with us today, and I'll allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Barbie.
Okay, I'm Barbie Kulp, and I am, first of all, I'm a mentor for a fifth grader at Austin Road Elementary, but I am also the mentor coordinator for Barrow County Schools, and I love my job. I have such a great job, and I'm passionate about mentoring also.
I'm Cheryl Hurst. I'm a member of the community, and I am a mentor for Barrow County Schools. And I was trying to remember how long, I guess this is my third year being involved with the program. And the student that I mentor is at Appalachia High School. She's a freshman there. But I started with her in middle school, so this is my second year working with her.
Oh, okay, Cheryl. What got you interested in being a mentor?
I found myself with some free time on my hand after I sold my business and started working out of my house. And so I had a little bit of extra time, and the opportunity was presented from some members of my church who are also involved with the mentoring program. And I just thought right away that this was a great fit for me. I have a passion for really supporting children who need positive role models. I had kind of a troubled youth myself. I did not have a lot of good role models. My parents were just struggling, and they really didn't provide a lot of guidance for me growing up. And so I can name on one hand a few adults who were very instrumental in pointing me in a direction that broke a lot of really bad cycles in my family. So I like to try to be that for someone else if I can, and just be an example of a successful, functioning adult where maybe they don't see so much of that in their everyday life. So I just thought it was a good opportunity for me to step in and give back to the community and be an important person in the life of a child.
I think that's so beautiful. It is such an important thing to be able to go out and connect with these students, even if they might not necessarily have a bad home life, or if they just need somebody to talk to or lean on. It's so good to be able to connect with them. Barbie, what got you interested in, and how did you become the mentor coordinator here at Barrow County?
Well, I've worked in schools and education. I have a business degree, so right out of college I worked in the business world, but became interested and really have a passion for young people. So I've worked in education about 21 years, and I've worked at a church as assistant youth director, but I had never done one-on-one mentoring until I got this job. So I tell people all the time, I've been blown away with how one-to-one mentoring is a different type of relationship than I've ever had before with young people. I guess I could say I didn't even know how blessed I would be when I took this job, how mentoring is impacting me, but I can also see, and I get to hear stories from mentors about how young people's lives are impacted in very small and big ways. It seems small at the time, but I think in 10 years down the road, it's big things that mentors have done. I've loved it. I've loved it so far, and I love mentoring my fifth grader. I just enjoy it.
I don't know about y'all, but it seems to me that they impact us just as much as it seems like we impact them. And it's so nice getting to spend that time with them and just learning from them just like they could learn from us.
Yes. Ciera, how did you get into what made you want to be a mentor?
What made me want to be a mentor? We actually have a common friend, Lisa. She was over there in Jackson County when I was doing my internship, and she told me about the mentoring program that they had, and I just knew that was something I wanted to do. And whenever I came over here in Barrow County, I knew I wanted to continue that, and it's just been a blessing in my life. My dad, he also, whenever I was in elementary school, he would kind of be a mentor for a lot of students. And I saw that a lot of the students that maybe not had a father figure, they still remember him to this day, even 20 years later. And I wanted to kind of make an impact in that way. So that's why I got involved. So Barbie, will you tell us a little bit about the mentor program here in Barrow? How many individuals are involved with it and how many schools are?
Yeah, so the mentoring program in Barrow County is a friendship-based mentoring program where we match up community members or parents with a student at the school of their choice. Mentors get to choose what school is best for them. I think close is the best, but also, so we'll pair you up with a student. The school will do that themselves. I don't do that because I don't get to know the students, but they'll match each mentor up with a student, and you spend 30 to 45 minutes a week with your student, just being a positive role model, adult role model in their life. And helping them navigate school and possibly decisions, have fun with them, be their friend, an adult friendship. There's a lot of kids, too, in our world that we live in today that they have their parents or their guardians, but they may not go to church and be in a youth group, or they may not be able to play extracurricular sports, so they don't necessarily know their coaches. And of course, they have teachers that are loving and amazing, but they may not have ever had a positive adult role model in their life. So that's what this mentoring program is. And we have about 135 approved and cleared mentors at this time throughout the county. And every school in Barrow County this year has mentors at the school. Some schools have a lot more than others, but we're building the program up, and just as it grows, we impact more and more kids' lives.
How can a community member or a parent, anybody that might watch this, become a mentor if they might be interested?
So the process is really easy. It's multi-step. There's about 4 steps, but it's very easy. You have to fill out an online application. I guess before that, let's even step back. You have to have a desire to impact someone's life. It is not. It's not as time-consuming as you think it might be. A lot of people are scared away, but they think, oh my gosh, I don't have the time for that. It's not as time-consuming as you think. But the process is that you fill out an application online, and then you have to complete a background check, a level 2 background check, and then attend a mentor orientation training session, and then you're matched with a student. And so it's pretty much an easy process. It's a great way for a community member, a parent, for that engagement at the school level to have community engagement. We have some people that, local companies that employees might do it during their lunch or right after work, but it's also a great way for parents to be involved in their school system.
You mentioned the time commitment, and that was a factor for me because, as I mentioned, I had a business to run and never considered it. But working at home now, I can carve out an hour out of the workday and scoot down the road to the school. It's just 5 minutes away, and I spend about 30 minutes with my student. And I've also enjoyed going to their extracurricular activities, too. I really make a point to meet their parent and introduce myself, so I build a relationship with them. And I think that it just is impactful to the student to know that there is an adult out there that cares and is thinking of them and is prioritizing the things in their life that are important, like their sporting events or whatever, to think that there's, this adult person that's making time to come, and it makes them feel very special. So I have enjoyed that, and it really doesn't take as much time as you would think, but it is just being intentional with the time that you have to prioritize the need that child needs to see you, once a week, twice a month, or whatever. And so it's very doable, as long as it's a convenient location. So, a lot of folks think that you need to be retired or not working, and so I do work full-time, but I'm just able to be a little bit more flexible. And so I've made that a priority for me. So, and it does, it fills me, and I get as much out of it, I think, as the student does. So
I think you said something, my favorite definition. There's lots of different types of mentors out there. And my favorite definition of a mentor is an intentional encourager, is that intentionality. And I don't know if I've ever been as intentional in a relationship as I have been with mentoring. I'm intentional in my marriage and I'm intentional with my kids, but I'm really intentional to have somebody that I don't see that often, but I'm intentional with my time with her, but also what I'm going to talk to her about or listen. I'm intentional about listening and encouraging her. So I love that you said about intentionality, because that's, I think, one of the best things is about a mentor is you feel like you are doing something intentional and impacting somebody intentionally. And I love that. It's very kind of empowering for both parties, I think.
Absolutely. Let's take a minute. We all have students that might be a little bit in different age groups. We both have elementary ones, and you have one that's in high school. Yes. Let's talk about what kind of activities we do with them. So if somebody has a student that might be in these age groups and they don't know what to do with them, they could get some ideas from us. Barbie, what kind of stuff do you do with your mentee?
Gosh, different things. My one thing I do is my mentee wants to be a lawyer when she grows up. So I have, at the beginning of almost every time we're together, I have a legal term, and I'll just look up actually on my phone. Actually today I saw her, and I did felony and misdemeanor, and I make her try to spell it. So she'll try to spell it, and then we talk about the right way to spell it, and then we talk about what those two words mean. And it's just a fun way to encourage her in her dream of being a lawyer. Whether she actually is a lawyer one day or not, I don't know. And I'm not even worried about that. I just want to encourage her in her dream. And so we just do a spelling word with a legal term every time. That's one activity we do. What about you?
That's so fun.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, that is really good. For my mentee, she really likes to color, so we color a lot. We also have a deck of cards that we play, and we'll kind of talk about the characters that are on them whenever we try to find the matches, and we'll say, oh, what kind of friend does this remind you of? And we'll just kind of turn every activity that we do into a learning activity as well. So one thing that we try to do is learn about kindness and how we could be kind to others. So yeah, it's that intentionality behind that as well, trying to find those parts where she may need to work a little bit more, and me as well, and find those activities go along with it. And what about you, Cheryl? What do you do with your mentee?
I have found that I try to get them outside. And so if it's a nice day, we walk around the building. So we just walk, just get fresh air. The conversation comes more natural to me, to the student, when we're just walking. So I try to get them outside if that's allowed, and fortunately it has been for each of the schools that I've been involved with. So we like to take a walk. I like to bring, my student likes a Starbucks, so I can bring her Starbucks, but the high school's a little trickier. But I have to request a special room so we can be out of the common areas, because not all the high schoolers can have Starbucks. Right. But I mentioned, getting to build a relationship with the parents, and not my current mentee, but my previous mentee wanted to be a firefighter. So I arranged to take her to a fire station and have a tour of a fire station one time, and that was a lot of fun. I try to take it to another level and arrange things with the parents to do with the student outside of school hours, because I feel like, particularly in high school, the short amount of time that we have in the school day is not really enough time to get too deep in conversation and really build the trust and the relationship that I would like to have with the students. So if I can get them outside of those four walls a little bit, I find that it's everybody's more relaxed and it's more natural. So that's what I've tried to do. Seems to work, but now that the winter's here, we're kind of, stuck inside now. But so I have to give some thought to what you said, though, because that's a really good thing.
I hear that's one thing I love about my job. I hear some amazing mentoring stories of. I have, one mentor that spends a lot of time kicking a soccer ball with his student, and you can't discount the small things that may feel small, just kicking a soccer ball, but that student may need to get the wiggles out and may learn better when he or she goes back in the classroom after she's had a little wiggle time. I also have another mentor told me a story about that he was able to talk to his students about the 4 different types of love because the mentee had a friend that liked him. And so they talked about the 4 different types of love. So I have another mentee that they color a lot, and they just talk while they color. And like I said, you can't discount the small things in mentoring because I think one day those students, as they grow up, are going to think, I remember for a couple of years I had this really nice lady that came and colored with me and talked about bullying or talked about how to be kind or those type of things are going to make a long-term impact even though they're small at the time.
I agree. I like what you said about when later on down the road they'll remember. That's one thing my mentee always asks me. She's like, "You really come just to see me?" She asks me that every time. I'm like, "Yes, I come to see you."
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's so fun though. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So what was it like the first time that you met your mentees? We can start with you, Cheryl.
Well, the student that I have, fortunately, is very personable, and so she made me instantly at ease and comfortable with her, and she, there really wasn't any awkwardness. I just really, we talked about real general terms, what's your family like? What's my family like? We kind of tried to find some common ground, favorite color, just kind of generalizing questions like that. But she had no problem opening up to me. She's very personable. So that made it easy for me. But we just basically had, just a one-on-one meeting at the school and just introduced one another and I'm going to be your mentor, and she was excited, and so we hit the ground running, and it was great, we haven't looked back since then. I feel like the one that I had previous, this is my second student that I've been with, that one, she was a little bit more guarded, and so I had to be a little bit more creative with drawing her out some, and so that's actually when I discovered walking around the building. That was a good way, and I want to see your classroom and show me, so I've enjoyed being welcomed into the school building, and you wear your big visitor sticker, and so everybody's very accommodating and very kind, and so it's been a great experience to be so just welcomed into the fold with all of the people, the adult people, the working people there at the school. They just welcome you in and just give you whatever you need. So I haven't had any issues with it in terms of being awkward or not knowing what to do or what to say. It's come very natural. Even in spite of the student that was a little bit more guarded, we had free reign of the building, and we made use of it, and that helped. So,
what about you? What about your first time meeting your student?
My first time with my current mentee, it was pretty much what she was talking about. You kind of getting to know each other. I asked her what kind of days she would like me to come if if I come during lunch or breakfast, if there was a certain time period. So it was just kind of learning about, what days that she would prefer me to come. And then also we talked a little bit about like, what do you like? What's your favorite colors? The very basic. And then that second time I came, she blossomed. She opened up. She was so excited to see me. And each time it gets a little bit more and a little bit more. But speaking about this, it reminds me, my first ever mentee that I had at a different school system, I actually saw her not long ago at Walmart. She ran up, she ran up and she gave me a hug, and it made me feel so good. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. Barbie, how was your first time?
My mentee is very outgoing. So I was.
That makes it easier.
It does make it easier. I know. I hear stories of mentors that have quieter or more reserved students, and that is a little tough. You have to be patient with the relationship, because any good relationship takes time. I mean, but I was lucky. She very open, very talkative. In fact, we are talking right now about her going to middle school next year, a big transition. And I said, well, I'm going to come visit you next year at your middle school. I said, but if you ever one day don't want a mentor, you or your parents, you can just tell, and I won't come visit you anymore. And she was like, oh no. It was so sweet. But I think I think mentors that do have a quieter, more reserved, maybe not as trusting student, that's natural. And so you just have to be patient and, again, don't discount the small things. Right now, I think every school in the system has mentors, some more than others. We have some schools that have a lot of mentors and some that may just have one or two. But it's growing, but there's always room for more. I always say that I think we tend to think that it's only troubled kids that need mentor, and that is so not true.
That's a question
mine
that
and yours they are not troubled students, and so I look at I tell people, when you start a new job and you have that one person that you work with that you can go to and say, hey, I messed this up. What do I do? And they help you fix it. Or that one person that you can go to and say, I don't know how to do this. That's kind of what mentoring is. So really any student can use a mentor. And I also joke a lot that children quit listening to their parents for advice at a pretty young age, unfortunately. They do. Parents are always important, the most important. But another adult giving advice, so many times students will listen to that adult a little bit more, or they'll hear it more clearly and not discount it. So really any student can use a mentor, just a sounding board, someone to help them navigate the difficult years of being a child and a middle schooler and a high schooler. And that's really what mentoring is. So we can use more mentors and keep building the programs, especially at the schools that may only have one or two.
That's a question that I get asked a lot from my friends and family is, I think they expect that the students that are in the mentoring program are at risk for one reason or another, and that may be true in some cases, but and then other people think that as a mentor that I'm filling the shoes of a tutor, but that's not my role at all. Right. My role, as it was explained to me, was I'm not a teacher, I'm not a parent, I'm just a trusted adult friend. Right. And so to build the relationship and just to, again, model, a functional, healthy adult to a child, that's not a family member or a teacher. I think that is very lacking and missing in society, unfortunately. And so, and then that person to make that child feel important and special, and you've taken your time to give them, attention or to make them feel like worthy, of that special attention and the time that you've taken. I think that does really impact them. So it's not necessarily kids that are, trouble or that have no other, this is their last resort or whatever. That's not been my experience. These are just, it's just another leg on the stool to help support that child and help them to be successful.
Yeah. I know I probably could have used a mentor growing up. I know you said you could have used a mentor growing up. I also think, too, I have several mentors in my life now for different things, for different areas of my life. So mentoring can help in so many different areas.
Well, I just want to thank y'all for coming on to today's show. I really enjoyed this episode and spending this time with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank y'all. That was a deep dive into mentoring. To learn more, visit our website for more information. And remember, the learning journey never stops. It continues beyond the bell.